Woo! It's time for NFA Money Talks. Okay, everyone, this is an exciting day because guess who I'm here with? My oldest baby nugget, who I love with all my heart. This is my oldest child, Alethea, and she is a badass entrepreneur. And I thought, who better to have on than my daughter, who has been on the money making journey with me and is now on the entrepreneur roller coaster ride herself. And we have incredible talks. She's in my NFA Money Mamas mastermind. She's started an incredibly powerful business fast. And so I wanted to bring her on to talk about how to get clients faster, the money blocks that are coming up for her. Of course, she can share whatever story she has with growing up with me, NFA Money Mama, the grand NFA Money Mama. So Alethea, this is Alethea Tyler, and she is the founder of a really cool company name. Of course, she came up with this, Copy with Spice, a copywriting business that's all about peppering in personality throughout website copy, because flavorful copy like that is the trick of connecting and converting. So she's a branding enthusiast, a blossoming SEO expert, and a whiz with words. That is very true. Her website copy attracts dream clients and helps clients to sell their services in their sleep and automatically represents their brand. I love this. So copywithspice.com is where you would want to check her out. And yeah, it's, as a parent, it's maybe one of the happiest days ever to see your children thrive. If you're a parent, you know this. So watching my own daughter grow up with me with all the money blocks I had, and then step into entrepreneurship and start to get really empowered, and then just watch her blossom into herself in this powerful way where she's a badass entrepreneur. Such a joy to have you on, Alethea. It makes me want to cry.
I'm so excited. I was so honored when you asked me.
Yes, I know. I love that you said yes. And you know me, there's no way I would have let you say no anyway.
True.
Yeah. But you also would not have said no. So let's start with a juicy, well, actually first, everyone here, I came up with a new banner today. So we're going to test this one out. This is going to be fun. Like, watch this magic with StreamYard. If you don't know StreamYard yet, you got to start using it for your videos. It's really fun. So this is the NFA Money YouTube channel. So check out this new intro. Yeah, we're talking about money confidence.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Alethea. So first, let's start with a juicy question for you. Right now, what's a money block that you're breaking through? Something that freaks you out about money as an entrepreneur.
Oh, great question. I'd say the biggest thing that's been coming up for me lately is stepping into that place of feeling like I deserve abundance. And I think that ties into a lot of other little things, but I've always been like a person who's good at making enough to get by and what I need. And, along those lines of like necessity is always met. I've never been worried that we weren't going to survive, that I wasn't going to be able to take care of myself. Like I've always known that I could do it, but getting to that place of like opulence and spectacular wealth where I get to have more than I need is something that I struggle with breaking through to that next level, and definitely comes up a lot in my business as I am raising my prices and getting to be more of an expert in my field. Do I deserve to charge like that? Is it fair to me? Is it fair to my clients? What value am I bringing? So I think a lot of it ties into like that self-esteem and imposter syndrome, I think, is just like, kind of the biggest thing at all points in time, it seems. But from my experience so far, definitely.
Okay, you got to share. How does imposter syndrome show up for you? So obviously these are tied to imposter syndrome. Like, do I deserve abundance is in some ways an imposter syndrome fear or a scarcity fear. So how is it showing up for you, imposter syndrome?
I think that I have a lot of nervousness around being young and thinking I'm not going to be taken seriously. And in a lot of like the business coaching that we've done and that I've done with other people, I get nervous that they're going to think like I'm a little kid trying to play a big kid game. And it makes me think of like when I was younger and I would like sit at this little desk and, you know, make up my little services. And that's sometimes how I feel, even though that's not, I know that I have a lot of, you know, English background. Like I know words and I can write them, I can string them together, but I'm still in the very beginning phases of my business, learning a lot about copywriting specifically. And I think that the imposter syndrome comes up with, you know, do people care to see this from me? What is it about me that's so special? Why do I think that I can help people? You know, just those questions of like, what value am I bringing that I can actually charge someone for? Who am I to think that I can do that? Especially at this age when, you know, I've just graduated from college and I'm still getting my bearings as an adult in the world. And so I think that's like kind of the big ways it comes up for me. It's like, who do I think I am to be doing this? And yeah, I mean, that's the big question.
Okay.
Around it.
This is great. People that are here live right now or later watching this, put in the comments if this ever happens to you. It's like the questions, do I have what it takes? Am I the right age? Am I supposed to be charging this much? Like, these are powerful questions that we ask ourselves as entrepreneurs. And, you know, you're young and you are successful. And, you know, something you said in the beginning when you were talking about, do I deserve this abundance? And how you know, we've always figured out a way to make money somehow. Like we were on food stamps, but it was like, oh, well, okay, then let's make spectacular beans and rice. And we always had enough. So it's that abundance piece next of like, ooh,
yeah.
you know, do I deserve abundance? And I love that question that you asked yourself. So, you know, if you're watching here, put in the comments, like, does this come up for you who are watching, that imposter syndrome fear of like, who am I to charge this? Who am I? You said a couple of really good ones. Who am I to charge this? Will people think I'm a little kid and a big, you know, I'm supposed to be a big, important entrepreneur, but who am I to charge this amount? I forgot the word this. It's funny. Sometimes when I'm talking, I can't type and talk.
Who am I to charge? Honestly,
who am I to
that's
charge?
where it does start. I feel like in starting a business, I'm like, who am I to charge anyone? Especially because it's a lot of questions that, like, I feel like I've always been that person for everyone that I've known who's like, oh, can you help me write this email? Can you? Yes, exactly. Like, who am I to charge, and who am I to charge this? And I think that at every level, I'm not that far into business, but even as I've upped my prices already, that always comes up for me. So
right. Thank you, Jeff and Katie, for sharing. You know, it's I love that Jeff says, you know, I'm 40 and I still ask these questions. Absolutely. These are those things where it's interesting to have a business where we decide what to charge. And then we go like, what is my value? You know, like, am I that valuable? Can I bring that much value? And who says, who should I charge this much? And then often I go like, well, who says you shouldn't charge that much? And it's always about perception, right? Like, how much value do you bring to the table is based on the results that you're able to bring to people. So
well,
go for it.
I think we had a conversation a little while back about me and charging certain prices, and you know, like, I've always waitressed and you can make a lot of freaking money doing that, but it's always been dependent upon somebody else setting up the rules for me and kind of knowing that I could succeed within that set of rules. And to be playing my own game by my own rules is a really daunting phenomenon to me. Like, okay, well, I have to determine the value that because when you're a waitress, it's like, obviously I'm bringing you drinks, I'm bringing you food, I'm either connecting with you or I'm not. It's pretty easy to measure. But when it's in your own business, it's like, what value am I bringing? That is a big, I feel like I've repeated that a few times, but the value of like, what am I providing that is worth charging to other people?
Will you share what's helping you break through that fear?
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. Honestly, I feel like I had a pretty big revelation recently, which is why I have to rewrite all my website copy again. And so far it's been like 4 times, which is great because that's what I do. So it's great practice. And I also have to say, writing your own website copy, impossibly hard. In comparison to writing copy for other people. I'm just shocked by how like challenging it is, even though that's what I do. But I recently had this like revelation that it's so not about me. The space that I'm in,
Mhm.
when I come from a place of providing value to other people, it is so much easier to show up authentically because all of a sudden it's not about me. It's not about my ego. It's not about, getting what I need out of the situation. And coming to that place of like, okay, well, really tapping into your audience and your ideal clientele and thinking like, what is it that they are looking for that I know I can help them with? How can I be
Mhm.
of service? And it takes the pressure off too, especially with like imposter syndrome stuff, where if I come from it of a place of serving and I know that I can help people articulate certain things that they're struggling to articulate themselves, then it's not so much of the pressure on me to determine what value I'm bringing. It's like I'm getting immediate feedback as to it being useful or
Yeah.
not. So
So
coming from a
reflected
place of
back at you.
service, yeah, coming from a place of service, I think has been just a huge change of looking at business
Yeah.
and reframing it.
Okay, this is these are leading me into. I have so many things I want to play with you. How did you know what to charge to begin with? Because
Oh,
you're talking about new clients, new business. I know you have me. She is part of the NFA Money Mamas. So if women are here watching, you must be part of NFA Money Mamas.
yeah,
Go to
it
NFA,
is.
go to NFAmoneymamas.com and you can do a free sit-in. We kick ass in this community. Like Alethea brings
Also,
it, I bring
our
it,
landing page
all the
is super
members
fun.
of the community bring it, and Alethea built the landing page with her brilliant copy. So check it out, even just for that. It's awesome. So what tip could you give for people? How do you know what to charge when you start? Because you're in business, is it 6 months now?
Yeah, about 6 months.
6 months. Okay, and she has several clients and she's kicking ass. So she's done an incredible job starting up her business. So when you started, how did you know what to charge?
Well, I did and I didn't have any idea what I was charging. I took a few classes. I took a really general copywriting class. And I mean, as someone who loves to learn, I would absolutely recommend starting there. It's like, okay, what even is copywriting and how can I get into it? And so within that space, I learned a little bit about where he had started and the prices that he had charged initially for some of his things.
Yeah.
And I kind of arbitrarily did my research around like how much does a beginner copywriter charge for a blog post, and then you kind of gauge it off of the results that your clients are getting, and if again the value part of what value it's bringing to them, how appreciative they are, if it's beneficial to them,
Like they're getting
from their kind
results.
of exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And with copywriting, I mean, that's a big one
Yeah.
because
Yeah, and I'm thinking
you're
about.
charging based off of results. You're not.
Right. Yes, and that's something we've talked about in Mastermind is making sure that you're not charging per hour, but charging for results, and always remembering that,
Mm,
that result, like you building my webpage for NFA Money Mamas, like that results in years of income for me, building a
yeah,
platform that resonates with people through the copy that you wrote. And so the result is lots of money in. So, deciding what you charge for something, never ever base it on hours that you work, base it on results that you're getting people. And when you're starting, you got to start somewhere. And, like Alethea is saying, start by looking at your industry standards for the area of expertise that you're in. So like coaching or copywriting, strategist, author, whatever it is, you want to look and see, what's kind of the industry standard, and then start somewhere and then play with it as you go. Something that I did really well with, doubling my profits overnight was I would go to a meeting, I'd have a great conversation, I would just like lay out a package on the fly, and then the next time I would increase it and then increase it until it got to a level where it was like, this is the right amount. And then I play with it. And then as my expertise grew, then I would increase it again. And so just keep playing with it. Don't be afraid of these things. And of course, I wanted to stick this in there. If anyone has questions, plug them into the comments and we're here to chat with you about them. Of course, because I have my daughter on today, I wanted to ask you this question, and feel free to say anything you want. This is a fun one.
boy. Say no more. I'm ready.
I know, right? What would you say is the biggest money block that I gave you growing up?
Oh man.
I'm so excited to hear what you have to say.
I'd say that there was a lot of judgment around rich people.
Oh
I
yeah.
think like
Yeah.
that dad had his things with like certain spiritual aspects of money,
Uh-huh.
but I think for me with you, there were a lot of ways in which like you show up as a very not anymore in the same way. You've transitioned in like the way that you show up style wise, but like being a little bit grungier and like wearing certain clothes and having the tattoos. And to me, I always really appreciated that about you because like I think you're such a badass, and you showing up in those ways was role model for me, like you were modeling for me, but also in my mind that got associated with being poor and authentic. Like poverty has some sort
Mm-hmm.
of tie to authenticity to me in a way that you taught me being rich was about being fake and to be real and to express yourself however you want, whether that's wearing tattoos or getting a divorce or like being in that messy complicated part of life where it's honest. And yeah, being rich equals being fake in my mind, and that was a big one that I had to
God.
overcome for
Yeah.
sure.
I didn't know that's what you would say, and it makes sense that you would say it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there are many
Yeah.
other answers too, but
I gave
I'd say
Alethea
that's the
plenty
one
of
that
money
comes
blocks.
to
And this is the wild thing, right? Money blocks we give to our kids, whether we mean to or not. And our job as we grow up as adults, like I can have these conversations with Alethea and not feel offended because I'm like, absolutely, I didn't know what I was doing. And even if I did know what I was doing, I still would unconsciously be doing some things that would download into her money blueprint or her money story and start to shape how she does things in the world. And so it's been so fun to get to work with you, Alethea, and see you transform money beliefs along with me, because we really, like, in a lot of ways grew up together. I was 20 when I got pregnant with her, and she was like my best friend and my confidant, and just like we lived in subsidized housing together. My other two kids went to live with their dad for a little while, and then they came, but it was like Alethea and I were like tied at the hip the whole time, really. And so she downloaded a lot of my shitty beliefs about money. And so I think that's fascinating to think about, like being rich is fake. And I really had this weird thing of being rich, it means everything is perfect.
yeah,
Like if you had
exactly.
money, then everything was okay. You didn't have any problems. And then because we didn't have money, it was like, well, I can't carve out that I have no problems. I can't pretend I have no problems. So I'm just going to like be quote unquote authentic, and none of this was conscious. It just happens as you play it out and you do the best you can to live the life however you do. So that's fascinating. Are you, like, as you're working through that, how are you feeling about the shift of, being rich or being poor can be fake, and being rich or being poor can be authentic? Like, how is that transitioning for you?
I think that going to the school, like going to Colorado College, where there are just a lot of really wealthy people,
Mm-hmm.
accelerated a lot of like me getting over certain money blocks because I developed relationships with people in a way that there were so many people there that I totally adored, and it really had me think about wealth in a very, very different way. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's always interesting to then be part of a community where you realize like everyone has money blocks, rich or poor. That was like the biggest thing I realized, is that I felt guilty about being poor and like felt all this shame about, that first year of being there, and like
Yeah.
not inviting you to like parents weekend because we were just so freaking broke. And then my friends' parents are coming and taking us out to these lavish dinners, but they felt so guilty about money too. And so it
Yeah.
was so funny to have this like both sides but the same feeling. So I
Totally.
don't know if that answers your question, but I think that that's been a big transition around like wealthy people are just people too. They can show up
Yeah.
inauthentically and they can show up authentically, and it has very little to do with the money in the end, in my mind, at this point.
Yeah. I love that you said her and I could share a lot of stories. So it was your first parents weekend, right? So first
Mhm.
parents weekend, I was on food stamps, we lived in subsidized housing, and parents weekend rolled around and Alethea was like, didn't invite me. Like she talked to me about it. And it was like there was this part of me that was, of course, devastated and super sad. And then there was this other part of me was like, thank God, because, you know, the parents would fly in and they would go to this place in Colorado Springs called the Broadmoor, which is like $500, $1,000 a night hotel. They'd rent like these fancy house Airbnbs. They'd go to dinners that were like a couple $100 per person. And I literally could not have paid for it.
Not always, but yes.
But yes, like they at least would
There
go to
was-
one fancy dinner, you know, and where it was like, if I had been invited to that and I was expected to pay, I literally would not have been able to pay for it. And so Alethea knew that. So she didn't invite me. But then there's this like weird sentiment of like, why isn't your mom here? And if I had gone, the amazing thing is that, and it actually makes, oh my God, it's so interesting. I didn't think I was going to get emotional about this. They would have happily paid for me. Like, they're kind people. I would have felt horrified.
Yes.
Like, I would have felt embarrassed, and Alethea knew that. So she didn't invite me. And, you know, looking back now, it's just like, it's such a beautiful gift to see all the sides of money and see how much it shapes us and our belief system and our feeling of power and worth and stigma and shame and jealousy. Like, my God, it's amazing. So, you know, Alethea and I've got to be on a wild journey of this, like all of my kids. And, you know, Alethea is here today, so we're talking about it. And yeah, that's a good one. Thanks for sharing that. God, we could talk about so many of these things. Okay, let's talk business, because I know the people here watching are wanting to learn more about business. You have, in your first 6 months, Alethea has built her website, gotten all organic clients. Like, you've done it. To me, I've watched you do an incredible job of finding organic clients. So will you share with people watching, what would you say 3 tips to get your first clients faster? And this is going to be in a service-based business. What would you say are 3 tips to get your first 3, let's say 1 to 5 clients faster?
The first would be to just put yourself out there. Like, it's really hard if you don't have a website or an Instagram or anything for anyone to find you. So just literally putting yourself out there in any way that you can, even if that was going on Facebook and reaching out to people and telling them this is what I do. For me, it's been a lot through Instagram, and genuinely this would be my second tip, those authentic connections where you're not coming from that place of like, can I get you to give me money? It's just like, hey, this is who I am. These are things that I'm interested in. I've ended up doing kind of some random things in the copywriting realm, but not necessarily what I'm focused on anymore. And it's
will you share the random things? Like, what are some of the random? Because they worked pretty well.
Yeah, well, the random things being the things that I've ended up doing for clients, I mean, but those have been kind of just talking about interests. So, like, I did an email like beta testing thing for somebody who was putting out a book and wanted to write 10 emails that had chapters so she could get feedback on those chapters. So kind of like market research, which is not what I do at all in general, but I just reached out to her and we started talking about how I wanted to be an editor and like those type of authentic connections where I didn't think that it was going to result even in anything. I just was like, well, you seem interesting. You want to talk? Let's chat. Let's hop on a call. Let's just see. So kind of just putting yourself out there in that way too.
Yeah. I love that's really important, because what I hear you saying and watched you doing well was just connecting with people. So building those authentic connections without always the intention of like, what can I get from you? It was more like you cared and you saw that they had a question. And then, you know, I think there's value in those taking of the random jobs that are on the way to building your business.
That's totally my third tip is like,
oh, cool. Okay.
Just kind of say yes in the beginning and see what you like and you don't like, because I would have never said that I was going to go website copy. I would have totally thought it was going to be blogging and, you know, because there are very different types of copywriting. Copywriting specifically is about writing stuff that results in a certain action being taken. But there's also something under copywriting called content writing, which is more blog style, where you're not necessarily getting someone to take an action. It's more building that connection with an audience. And I think that there are a lot of ways to genuinely do that. But I also think that a lot of content writing has to do with just kind of putting content out there for content's sake. And so that was something that I learned pretty quickly I was not interested in doing. So, but I wouldn't have known had I not taken certain opportunities and been like, ooh, I don't like this. And yeah, I think that just like, you just have to kind of try it out. It's like an internship or an apprenticeship, you know?
I like that. It's so true, actually. It's like, I think a lot of times we think as we step into business, we should just know exactly what we're doing. And it's like
Oh my
being a
God, yeah.
newborn, right? Where you're like, I got to learn how to walk here. I've got to learn how to talk to people. I've got to learn what I like. And I'm actually changing what we said because I realized I didn't change the copy there. So I said, get to 6 figures faster. So for those of you watching, Alethea is my daughter. She just started a business 6 years ago, and she has an incredible company called Copy with Spice. So if you go to copywithspice.com, you can find her there. And she's sharing, actually, instead of the 6 figures faster, because she's on her way, but not quite there yet, she's sharing tips to get your first clients faster. And these are the 3 tips that she shared. So number 1, put yourself out there. Number 2, build authentic connections. And number 3, say yes to see what you like. So let's dig in there a little bit more. Like, are there things you would say no to? Let's start with that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think
Okay.
that the 3rd tip is a little challenging because it's also say yes to figure out what you like, but I don't know. I go back and forth on this because I think it really depends. Like for me, having put myself in a financial situation where I didn't have to take every job for my livelihood and I had I have a cushion of savings, I have gotten to be a lot pickier than I would be if I didn't have that. Otherwise, I would be saying yes to a lot more. But I have said no to quite a few projects because they don't get me excited. And I think that in that beginning stage too, you need to make money, you need to figure out what to do. But it's also like if you don't spend time doing something that you're excited about, you're not going to want to keep building your business. It drains you so fast.
Yeah.
And being an entrepreneur is like, it's hard. It's not hard in the way of like, it's not hard in the ways that I expected. It's hard in the ways that to keep myself upbeat with to have that forward momentum, to keep taking daily action, I have to have things that I'm like, you know what? I really like this enough to keep fucking doing it. Yeah. And if I don't have those projects, when I've done projects where I'm just like, this kind of sucks. I'm like, why am I doing this? I could be getting paid easier. I could not doubt myself every day. Like I could just go find some job with a steady paycheck. So it's also don't say yes just because, and really, really trust your gut. Because I've had a few projects where I'm like, ooh, this is a big project. I should take it. It's good money. But then I'm like, there's something inside of me that's just like, absolutely not. We're not going down that road.
Yeah. Well, and you learn to listen to that because when you take on clients or jobs or projects you don't enjoy, exactly like you're saying, like the burnout rate in entrepreneurship is so high that if you're making money doing stuff you hate, you feel frustrated and stuck. And we want to be making money with joy and building more of that. So you've got to decide, like, of course, when you're a startup company, you're going to take some jobs that aren't 100% aligned with your zone of genius, and like you said in number 3, say yes to what you like, to see what you like. You don't know what you don't like yet.
Exactly.
You know, you might have an idea or conception, but if it's your first business and it's a new industry for you and you have skills in that area, obviously, you're still going to have to figure out, like, ooh, just like you said, is it blogging? Is it websites? Is it email nurture sequences? Is it this? You know, whatever business you're in, you're going to start to figure out the nuances of that business and then go, oh, this is what I'm really good at. And then that's when you get to really scale it huge because every day feels more like play instead of drudgery. Yeah. You've been really good at doing that, to me, from my perspective, really quickly. Like just going, okay, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say yes to just enough jobs to bring in the seed money. And then I'm going to refine quickly and then get to work with who I really, really, really enjoy. Yeah.
And that's like, I think too, I mean, I'd say 2 other huge things that I've learned are you need to connect with your why as fast as you possibly can. And your why to me is something that has been there your whole life. You're just now kind of bringing it into your business. Like I like connecting with people and helping people figure out stuff about themselves. And that's essentially what I get to do with copywriting. And when I kind of got to connect that why to what I was doing, it helped me not only refine what I was interested in within copywriting, but it also made me show up in a different way because it was significant. It wasn't about making money. It wasn't about just doing something to do it. It was that like, this is a sole purpose. This is a driven thing. This is really important to me. And also just getting super clear about the people that you do want to work with. And like, I think that's your ideal client is like so much more important. I hate the word ideal client. I hate that phrase. It's stupid. And here's why. Because it's so dry. Your ideal client is so much more exciting than that. And like, this is everything in copywriting. Once you can figure out that one person and you can see those details and you know what they want to do on the weekends and you know what frustrates them and you know like what they really give a shit about, you can write good copy. Like that's the trick. To know your ideal client is to talk to, we're just having a conversation. Ideal client, that was such a boring phrase.
What would you, I'm going to put it up here because I love that you're saying this. So spice up your copywriting, know your ideal client. What would you call your ideal client?
Oh, mine's named 𝐼𝐧𝐬𝐭𝐷.
𝐼𝐧𝐬𝐭𝐷. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that naming your ideal client is huge because when you sit down and write anything, you want to literally be talking to them. Like you should be writing only with them in mind. And yeah, there'll be other people that come into that realm, but it's like, there's so much more important just being ideal client. Like I would never want someone to be like, oh, you're like just an ideal client to me. Like so now they're the like cream of the crop. Exactly. Yeah.
I always like to say your 5-star client, like your rock star.
Yeah.
Like something. It's like the person who you can't wait to work with.
It's your business bestie. It's like
totally. Oh, I love it.
That's the most important thing ever about your business. Like the person you know you can help and connect. Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. It's so true because like, so everyone watching, Alethea did copy for me for a while, like and I wouldn't even say copy. It was like you were doing some social media stuff, which she's moving away from quite a bit and doing more website copy. So she transitioned, but it was like amazing to watch her pick up my voice and pick up the voice of my people and know them because she tapped into their mind the way that I love to do. It's like I could sit down and say like, here's my ideal client, my business besties, thoughts, dreams, hopes, fears, desires. And that really helps me like connect with you because if I don't know that, I can't get you results. And so I think it's a really powerful tip. Okay.
I think too, just to add something to that I see a lot within copywriting stuff is like all of this marketing jargon. And I think that's where like copywriters have been super beneficial for businesses is that nobody's going to read something that sounds super eloquent unless that's their personality and connect with it. Like you just want to be human to human. We talk to be understood by other people. And like you wouldn't explain to me something the same way that you would explain it to a 10-year-old. So like you want to talk and use people's words because you want to be understood by them. So staying away from like the eloquent, like marketing speak, I think is a vital skill in writing successful copy because that's when it connects. That's when it actually resonates. And you want to know the words that people are using when they're thinking to themselves about certain things. So.
Which is such an interesting mistake that entrepreneurs make is using too much jargon. I did it for sure for a lot of years. And it was also like using too big of words because I was trained academically. It was like, I didn't know how to like simplify it into something that made more sense. Because in my brain, it was like all jumbled up. And I was like, in one sentence, I want someone to know everything I know already. Yes. And so you really helped me shift my thinking about that, where it was like, how do I simplify this so that more people can resonate and connect with what I'm saying instead of saying it in these big ways? And I don't know how it was read by people. Like, I think sometimes people can read it as like, you're trying to sound so smart. And for me, it wasn't that. It was like, I don't know how else to say it.
Totally.
It's like, I don't know how to say it that way. And then you get taught a lot about marketing. So you're like, it needs to be in this formula, these rules. And then you just kind of lose sight of what you're really saying. And so to me, you're really brilliant at that. Like just helping people tap in. I mean, it's amazing. And of course, I'm biased and I'm not like since you were a little kid, people would, she's been a writer since she was a little kid, written several books, published several books. It's like you have a way with words that is brilliant and really good at tapping into characters and voices, and it's just fun to watch you. And so to me, it's like I really get to see you in your zone of genius. and making money doing your life in your zone of genius. And it's such a cool thing at your age. Like, it just not that many people get to start at your age doing that.
Yeah.
I could talk to you for the rest of my life, of course. So I'll be conscious of everyone's time. I do want to ask you a few more things. One thing, just giving a plug for NFA Money Mamas, because I know how much you love NFA Money Mamas, and really it was like a lot, you're my creation in a certain way, because I started with this idea actually from my son. Well, I run a lot and exercise a lot, and he used to always call me NFA Muscle Mama. And then, of course, my company is NFA Money. And then one day he's like, Mama, you're NFA Money Mama. And I was like, ooh, I love that name. And then Alethea and I were driving, and I said, I have this idea and it won't go away. I think I need to create a mastermind called NFA Money Mamas. And we just started playing with it, and we're like, this is awesome. And we could like envision the whole, community of women being built who are, driven entrepreneurs, women who are ready to be financial powerhouses, and the connection in the community. So she's one of my first NFA Money Mamas. And I'm curious, will you just share like 30 seconds or to a minute or something, or like what you're getting out of it and attracting the right people there?
Yeah, absolutely. I do absolutely love NFA Money Mamas. I think, one thing about being a little bit on the younger side is that for me, I don't really have like an entrepreneurial community.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that would be one of the tips I'd say if you want to get clients faster, like surround yourself with people who are doing similar things, either in the entrepreneurial realm or in your specific niche. But that's been just like probably the biggest part for me, is having this community of women who are growing their businesses, who are questioning their beliefs, who are working on them, developing themselves, and are really like genuine, authentic people who are sharing these breakthroughs in live time, on our Volley channel, like, which is a video platform where you could kind of just share messages. It's so cool to see these women talking about like, oh, I just realized that my mom did this when I was a kid, and now that's why. And you just, it allows you to explore yourself in a way that I don't think is possible without a community like that. And you get to like have that support and ask, technical business questions, but it's also like so much more deep emotionally. It's really emotionally been just like, I just get so juiced up after going to NFA Money Mamas. And like, I always feel like I have a place that I can share whatever I'm thinking about, whether it's about like meditation or, what business books should I read next, or like, how do you do this and this? So it's just like a great landing place it's a great mastermind. It's what it is. It's a meeting of a bunch of cool minds, and they're really cool women.
I know. I'm in love with the community. It's amazing. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Will you share who your ideal client, your business bestie, you said Lacey Gracie?
Lacey Gracie, yeah.
Lacey Gracie. Who is your Lacey Gracie? So that people who are watching, if they need to work with you, and I'm sure if you have a business, you need to work with Alethea. Will you share who that is for you?
Yeah. So, it's actually a little funny because my ideal client has recently changed a bit. My Lacey Gracie is evolving just as I am, but I think that moving forward, I'm looking to work. Well, my Lacey Gracie is this person who, she has a website. She's kind of DIY'd it at this point. She's definitely caught in this trap of like, I should be able to write about my business because it's my business and I know it best, but I just can't get it across in the way that I want, and I'm not getting results from it. A lot of people have websites that, they're out there. They kind of just put it out there because they knew that they needed to. They wrote it themselves. They don't necessarily know that they didn't originally know that there's a strategy, but they're becoming aware as they've been going through a few years of business. They're probably in like their second year of business around there, that they're like, ooh, you know what? There's an actual strategy to this that I'm seeing other people, and I would like to have that implemented. But more on the fun side, more on the emotional side of things, like they have a personality that they really want to be leading with. And you're like, how you show up in a discovery call is how your website should be. It should be a seamless transition across. Like, that's your brand voice. So people who are really, they don't want to sound like a corporate robot. They're not showing up in their meetings. They have a louder brand voice. They have a louder personality. They're
Yeah.
excited to put themselves out there. They're not afraid to, you know, like maybe they swear a little bit, or maybe they have like, they talk with a little bit of slang, or, and they're,
I was going to ask,
no,
because you're saying
no.
louder personality. Are you saying like more? Because to me, it's like defined. Like they have a defined brand.
It is.
Oh,
That's a better, yeah, yes.
okay.
I think it's a better way of putting it.
Just because I was thinking about like some people are on the quieter side,
Totally,
but their
but they have a
brand
loud
presence
brand
is still
voice.
really,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, and this is the thing with like that I'm noticing, because I've worked with a lot of newer entrepreneurs, and they just don't quite know what they want their brand to be yet, which is super understandable, as I've rebranded myself. But when you have that space that you've been in for a little while, and you kind of know the way that you want your business to show up in the world, and what your ideal client is like, then you do have a more refined brand voice.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
those are the type of people that that's like the person that I'm most excited to work with, because they're ready to have that brand voice, that personality that they're presenting be obvious across all of their platforms, and they aren't afraid to have like a little fun.
And really specifically, you're like, you help them develop their website to make sure that their
Yes.
website is in alignment with, and it's so fun. I love your concept of copy with spice, because it's like, ooh, let's spice up the copy, have it be more flavorful, and attract people through the spiciness of it. And it's so cool. It's so much fun. Okay. So website specifically.
It is website specific. And
okay. And you have a cool questionnaire, right? If they go to your website, or if they go to Copy with Spice at Instagram.
Yeah, that's the way that people connect with me, is to fill out my questionnaire and kind of talk about what they're hoping to get across and where they're at right now. That's not what they want. So
okay. And I know all of you can tell Alethea is not a salesy person at all. Like if you schedule a call with her, she's not going to sell you. She will actually give you lots of awesome feedback, and then you'll know if you want to work together with her or not. She's been awesome to work with, like really good with, I mean, really, when I say brilliant with words, brilliant with copy, easy to work with on it. Like, I'm excited to see where do you want to go with your business, Alethea?
Well, I'm launching, my friend and I, she's a website developer, and I'm a website copywriter, and we're really interested in that brand element, because that's basically, I think a lot of people talk about brand and have no idea what it means. And I've been one of those people, so I can say it. But like, brand is just like the personality of your business. And to me, that's what makes the distinction between something interesting and something not. There are a lot of money mindset coaches. There are a lot of copywriters. There are a lot of everything at this point, especially in the digital space. And so having that brand that really represents your business's values and your business's voice is a really fun way to show up and connect with people genuinely and stand out. And so her and I are launching like a branding business where the website copy and development will be included, but also getting to know your ideal client, getting to know the vibe of your business that you want to be putting out there. And it's going to be super fun and flirty. And so that'll be coming in the next few months, but I would like to have like a long-term.
Yeah. If I give you a magic wand, by the time you're 30, because that's quite a ways away for you. So let's say 30. What's your big vision by 30?
I mean, to have an empire.
Awesome.
A branding empire. I would love to have like freelancers working for me. I would love to have someone come in and be like, we would be probably working with more launch projects at that point, because we would have a better idea of how to help people from the ground up. But we would have photographers that we knew could get the essence of the photos that they liked. And we would have, we could help them with social media campaigns. And if they wanted videos, if they're doing YouTube, like if they want to be into Pinterest marketing, we would have all of the resources for them, so that a business owner could tap in and just like have a plethora of things to choose from, I think. Would be the way to go.
I love it. Okay. So everyone knows, check Alethea out. Go to IG. She's very active on IG, Copy with Spice. And then there you can plug into her services and her website, copywithspice.com. Okay. Let's, in closing, share your favorite book you've read in the last 6 months since you started your business? What's a book recommendation?
I think I would have to say Building a Story Brand. It's just changed my life, and it's all about how you step in. Like, most brands fail when they make themselves the hero of the story rather than make their customers the hero of the story. And once you kind of have that repositioning, you just realize that like it's all about that value, that providing something for someone else, and then like enticing them in a fun, not gross, salesy way, but in a way that's like compelling to let them into your world where they know that they can be the hero in their own story and you're just kind of the guide. And the way that he talks about it is really tangible and exciting when it comes to writing stuff.
He's
so
good.
That would be a huge book recommendation.
That one's incredible.
Really good.
Okay. Now, what's a money confidence tip? So number one money confidence tip. And when I say that, like, let's say, when you were sharing imposter syndrome comes up for you sometimes in building this business, like what's something you do to get over it? That would be a great money confidence tip, because I know that everyone here watching struggles with imposter syndrome sometimes.
Ooh, that's hard. I mean, my tip, it's not very tangible, but it would be to read money mindset books.
That's tangible.
I guess that is kind of a concrete to do.
Yeah.
I think that like until you really know why you're thinking the certain ways that you are, you're not going to be able to do anything about it. So if you're not tapping into like other people's knowledge to help you understand yourself, then you can't really do anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a game changer for me. That's how I started. It was like listening to podcasts, reading books, and watching YouTube. Like, I'm sure you remember when you were little. Yeah. I mean, you weren't that little even, this wasn't that many years ago, but it was like, I was nonstop listening to podcasts and like reading books, and it changed our whole world.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like that in another way is like having fun with it and believing in the magic of it. I think that when you open that door to playfulness, and in business too, and like a lot of things in life, if you can open yourself up to just having fun, there's so much magic, I think, to money and like with manifestation stuff, and realizing that there's fun to be had within that space where it's so traditionally stressful. Yeah. That really has changed my relationship to money.
Ooh, I love this. I'm recalling, I think you'll be okay with me saying this, but I'm recalling when the first mastermind you came on for NFA Money Mamas, and I said, okay, we're going to meditate now. We're going to do a money meditation now. And you were like, what? We're not allowed to meditate about money. That doesn't equate.
Yeah, totally.
And it's like that idea, like money can be fun. Money can be playful. And when it is, that's when you really tap into wealth consciousness, and that's when you attract more fun, easy money your way. So it's like until you really adopt and own that, there's magic to money. Money is a game. Money is fun. Like then you get to really enjoy the process of making money instead of having it be drudgerous and scary.
Yeah. Well, and even like in a lot of money mindset books, they talk about how you should celebrate everything that you get, and like how really rich people will find a penny and they'll be like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And I think like that's where the fun, the playful comes in, because it's like, it's money. Like you should have that like friendly relationship with it. I think that that's where it really, you should, it's way more enjoyable when you do. It makes spending money fun. It makes making money fun. It just,
consider how to have money making be fun, and consider how to have fun spending your money too. Yeah. That's a big one, right? Like I was listening, man, I can't remember what I was listening to the last week, but it was talking about the flow of giving and receiving, and how like spending is a form of someone else receiving the money you've made.
Yes.
And like, so it's like that flow of giving and receiving, and then it can be this reciprocal playful relationship, instead of having guilt and fear around spending, because a lot of people, they make a lot of money, they're afraid to spend it. And I've had that for sure. I still remind myself when I spend money, like it's okay to spend money. There's an abundant flow. The more I spend, the more I make, because it, for so long I was in survival mode. It was like, how am I going to feed Alethea? How am I going to feed my other kids? Like, oh my God, like I'm scared to spend. And now it's like, Let it flow, let it flow.
They're in Secrets to the Millionaire Mind, I'm reading it, and this morning he was talking about how you give $5 to someone and buy a pen, and then they take that $5 and they buy something else, and then it goes down, and through $5 you've created $25 worth of value.
Yeah.
So it's that the money is always like, it's actually multiplying by being spent. And I just really liked the way that he said that, because it just struck me so much. Instead of having that scarcity mindset of spending it and having it disappear, it's like it's been exchanged to actually exponentially grow. And I thought that was a really cool
That's cool.
analogy.
I love that. Ooh, we're going to put this up here. Okay, so an abundance mindset is money multiplies by being spent. And I know so many people that need this. I think sometimes people have the money block of overspending, and like they could, like, sometimes the avoidance of the sabotage is to overspend. Sometimes for other people it's to underspend. And so it's like, you got to figure out for yourself where you're at on that spectrum and go like, okay, do I need to loosen up the reins and enjoy the spending a little bit more? Or do I need to tighten the reins and enjoy saving a little bit more? You know, like, some people fall in the, like, they have huge savings accounts and feel scared to spend. And some people fall in the, like, they have zero savings accounts and keep going into a debt, but keep spending. So you got to know yourself. Money mastery is about knowing yourself and starting to understand your money blocks, which actually I haven't plugged this yet. And I have really women, like, I know some guys are probably here, and some women. If you are a woman, check out NFA Money Mamas. This is a mastermind. Alethea is in it. I'm in it, and lots of incredible women. And it is where you want to be to up-level your money mindset and hang out with other awesome women. The other thing, of course, there's this my free 3-step NFA money formula, where you can learn about your money blocks, how to take a money mindset quiz, learn how to rewrite your money story, and also tap into my newest course called Reprogram Your Money Mindset. So go there if you're looking for that NFA money formula. Lots of awesome free stuff there and some paid. Okay. So it's been such a joy to have you on, Alethea. I know you and I could talk for a long time. I'm really, really, really excited to watch your business grow with you and transform over time. So everyone, be sure to check out Alethea. She is, let's hide that. She's at copywithspice.com. If you want to see her on IG, it's Copy with Spice. She's great at answering messages, and we'll definitely connect with you there. Yeah. Your Instagram is super fun. So thank you so much for being on. Let's close with, I think you can come up with this off at the top of your head. What is a quote that you live by? And then we'll unplug for the day and end our show.
Oh gosh. A quote that it's so funny. I have so many that I've written down.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know if I can come up with one off the top of my head. I think that like, it's more, it would have something that's more along the lines of it. It won't be exact, but it's like, when you step into yourself, you can lead the life that you want. When you're like genuine with yourself, when you follow your intuition, when you're honest, when you put in that hard work, it's that's the space where the magic happens. And I don't have a specific quote, but it is like along those lines.
Yeah, it was an interesting one to ask you, because this is where I know too, when people are newer in business, like, you've got 8 million things going on in your brain at all time. I've been on 100 podcast episodes, so I'm always like pulling out the quotes. I have them memorized now. This is your first appearance on anyone's show, right?
This is my first appearance.
So you're good. You're golden. Next time you'll have 5 when I ask you.
Yeah.
You did amazing for your first show. Thank you so much for coming on, Alethea. Let's see, we have one last comment. We had some. Let's just highlight our people who were on. Jason, he said that we were talking about imposter syndrome. Or sorry, Jeff Redman. Jeff, I miss you. I hope you're doing well. Okay, so Jeff talking about imposter syndrome and saying, like, at 40, he still has these questions sometimes. Katie, who is one of my dear friends from high school, love you, Katie. Shout out to you. Resonates with these comments. Jason Hanson, you've been on every week. Thank you, Jason. Used to have a block fear of working with higher net worth people. Yeah, that's a big one. No more thanks to NFA. Nice. Yay, Jason, you rock. And then you can sound smart or be wealthy. The choice is
Oh,
yours.
I love that.
Nice. That's a great closing quote.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason. And thank you, everyone, for being here. It's an honor and privilege to get to be here for you every week. I'm moving this weekend, and I have on my schedule my NFA Money Talk Live. I'm going to do solo because I don't, just in case something wonky happens, I don't want to schedule anyone that week. But I plan to be here next week at noon. Even though I'm moving, it'll be in my new office and things will be in disarray, but I want to be here for you because I love being here to bring you tips every week. So thanks for being on, everyone. Thank you, Alethea. It's been wonderful to have you. And until next time, everyone, NFA Money Making High Fives. Woohoo! Bye, everyone.